on, Nation? Are we 5x5? I am hoping and praying this morning that we are. Been working on this pretty much all day yesterday. The intro is back. Yeah, I was trying to get the intro back flawlessly made, and I was trying to get it to where I could pull text up on the screen. We are 5x5. That is awesome. Everything worked out. I feel like a genius over here. I'm a tech genius. Good morning. How's everybody doing? Hello, and welcome to Prepper Nation, the greatest community on planet Earth, because I said so, and because y'all are freaking awesome. Yeah, backwoods, head on over there. Good morning, Dome Seeker. What's going on? Keep your husband in line. I need him. I need him to have my back. Thank you for hitting subscribe. We're going to get into the poll here shortly, but old John's not trying squirrel unless we hit 100,000 subscriptions here on the channel, and that probably ain't never happening. So everybody, I hate that you wasted your vote on that. First in the house this morning was Days. So congrats. Who's in the house this morning? Kelly, you and Rambo, hopefully you are doing okay. Michael G, Dennis Ross, good morning. Doug, thank you for the 5x5. Cowgirl Prepper. Hunter Moon, good morning. Sergeant Mike, Uncle Charlie's in the house, y'all. Watch out. VR Lab Girl. Romans, no, I'm not eating Z squirrels. Shady's up in the house. Wilson IB Math. KV Jones, good morning. Windflower, son of the desert, says here. Pastor Corwin's up in the house. City to Sticks. Jessica G. Just so y'all know, if you're in the coffee club, you will eventually show up on a poll. We're going to start having a little more fun with that. But this morning, America is spiraling out of control. Welcome to the streets of rage. And yes, it was hard for me, very hard, in fact, not to use Streets of Rage thumbnail art this morning from the video game. You know, the text that's on the thumbnail art was put there on purpose because I'm a fan of the game, but I didn't want to get too crazy with it. But have y'all seen what is happening in America right now? This whole weekend was off the rails. I can remember someone in chat Friday was asking, you know, what my thoughts were on Antifa. Are they going to show back up? Are they going to do anything in Atlanta? And I can remember saying, I don't know. It's a wait and see. I was on the fence on it, to be honest, because we haven't seen them in a while. But man, they showed up. They were setting stuff on fire. The twerking was back. Of course, they were assaulting police officers, and the police and the mayor of Atlanta, they were having none of it. I mean, they threw these people on the ground fast. They were cuffing them as quick as they could get their hands on them. So kudos to Atlanta. Maybe, you know, Atlanta is not Portland. I think that's the lesson that can be learned. But this lets us know we're going to see lots more of Antifa as things ramp up and get worse. Jim, thank you very much for the super sticker. I appreciate it, brother. Well, Appalachian, there was a little bit on mainstream media. It hit social media, and CNN, they've got to be the worst. I know y'all probably know this, but CNN's really, really bad because of the way they word things. They were kind of wording it. They didn't call it a peaceful protest this time, but they were kind of wording it, you know, like it was an after school program or something. I don't know. They like to dress certain things up, and then they like to bash other things, like the incident, you know, unfortunately, that happened in California. Hopefully y'all know the incident I'm talking about. Trying to dance around words here. I have to here on YouTube, on CommieTube. But there was an incident in California, and immediately some lawmakers, a bunch of your liberal talking heads and networks, immediately they made that connection to white supremacy. And oh boy, come to find out, the individual is not white at all. So they were trying to race bait this thing before the facts came out. And then all of a sudden, they started sweeping this thing under the rug. There were some calls for gun control. Now, of course, the AR-15 got brought back up. But the issue is, in that particular area, what's going on, Jason, of California, they have gun control. So there's really not much narrative to be had. You know, the usual suspect that you like to pin everything on, that individual's not guilty in this case. And then this did not happen in an area that needs gun control. In fact, this plays against the narrative. They have gun control and it still didn't work. So now what? You know what I'm saying? And they don't like to talk about that kind of stuff. And there was a nightclub incident as well. I want to say in Louisiana, but I could be wrong on that. They sort of buried that one as well. That's a nightclub. That is somebody that probably had way too much liquor and looked at the wrong woman or something like that. I'm not trying to downplay it, but I don't think that individual went in with a motive to do harm. Things probably just got out of hand. But in California, this individual left a note, I believe. I mean, this whole thing was planned out, and this individual was not a white supremacist that I'm aware of. I don't know how that stuff works, but this just plays into this deeper feeling, in my opinion, that there's this vibe in the air. You know what I mean? People are frustrated, they're mad, they're angry over inflation, they're angry over, being told in certain areas, hey, you got to mask back up. They see in certain areas the pandemic being pushed again, that whole narrative, uh, pushing the 6 feet apart. Some of the school systems and stuff, for example, in your larger liberal cities are starting to pivot back over, and people are just tired of it. Tie time, I'm sorry. Let me see here. What do we got? In the magic hole, we have a skeleton. A skeleton. And that one is for Caveman James, because he ain't them boys anymore. They dead, at least for the season. So I mean, there's just there has been for a while, but there seems to be this ramp up, um, in terms of, I don't know, you can feel it when you go in the stores, man. People seem more confrontational. They seem it doesn't take much, and people are either shooting dirty looks or they're going off a little bit on people for no real reason. I'm used to seeing that on social media, but we're seeing it play out in real time now. So just to give y'all some crime statistics here in the United States before we move on, this comes from Macro Trends. Y'all can Google it if you want to. Crime is up 28% so far this year in the United States. It was high last year. Last year was much higher than the year before. In the United States, we kind of the crime was going down for a while, and then it shot straight back up. Now we're going back up that hill. Yes, F the WEF. 28% violent crime is up, and that's all kinds of different violent crimes. Shoplifting is way up, folks. Burglary, break-ins, stuff like this, home invasions and robberies, home robberies, that's way up. And it just plays into the fact that desperation leads to anger and crime. And that's where we're at right now. We have a government that's not working. We have a system that is falling apart. Somebody in pre-chat was saying Rome is falling apart. That's what we're seeing. And as that happens, some people get fearful. And let me just say real quick, it doesn't help when all of these people are peddling fear day in and day out, because a lot, the larger creators where they've got a lot more than the Beaverines got, to be honest. We need more Beaverines, son. But look, they have a huge audience and it's day in and day out. Be afraid, be scared, be mad. And mainstream media has been doing this for years, as well. And it just wears people down mentally. Rome did not have nukes. You're right, Uncle Charlie. We're going to get into that shortly. Misty Cook, thank you very much. Arm yourselves because the world is foobarred. Our society is foobarred. And I don't want to pitch a message of no hope, because I think there's always hope, in this world, but I don't know how much hope I have for this nation. And I don't want you to be armed only with hope, especially if you live in an urban area, or you go into, some people go into the week, on the weekends, they'll go into the city and stuff like that. Have something more than hope, have a concealed carry or have it on your side or something, because a lot of these people, They don't care. They don't seem to care anymore. They're not worried about the end result. It just feels like human life. There's not a lot of emphasis placed on human life anymore with some of these people, and they'll be quick to do something like this. So please make sure. Yes, hopium. Thank you. I want to give hope, but not hopium. I still want you to be prepared at home. I still want you to have some sort of a um, plan to defend yourself. Hope is not a plan. I agree with that. It's not the entire plan, but you have to have hope. You can't always live in this ditch of gloom and doom because also what life is that? There has to be hope. And I think that kind of gets into spiritual prepping a little bit. There needs to be hope, but at the same time, you need to be realistic and you need to understand, Roy, I can't do it either. I can't watch it all the time, but apparently a lot of people like it or they're drawn into it or whatever. And so here on this channel, we talk about the things that are really going on, really happening, and the things that I believe are coming. But we try and do so without making you feel like there's no hope. Some channels that I've seen, and again, some larger creators here on YouTube and obviously the mainstream media, you kind of get this feeling like there's no hope. Go ahead and go lay down in the floor. It's over. No, no, it's not over. It's never over until it's over, right? So there's always some hope, but be realistic, if that makes sense. Hopefully it does. I saw that, McBean. She emailed me. YouTube, for those that follow Casey Little Owl, I meant to mention that. Thank you for bringing that up. Casey Little Owl is being hassled with her channel once again for no real reason. She was talking about setting up a beehive or something, and they nailed her for that. So, I told her she had asked me if I'd ever seen it done before. I said, yeah, AR American. I've seen them just completely take his channel down without warning, maybe more than once. And also B&L Ranch had a huge channel and they just took it down out of the blue. It happens. Um, so if she's not posting any kind of content and you folks are following her, it's not because she doesn't want to. She can't, from what I understand. So, Bill B, what's going on? Bill B is in the chat giving the egg count. um, Getting to the war for a second, because the war is getting ready to affect all of us, I think, in a major way. So the holdup has been the Leopard tanks. Germany has these fantastic tanks. We really need to get into the M1 Abrams because the United States is either lying about the Abrams and they just don't want to send them, or they are admitting on a world stage that we have an inferior tank. For those that don't know, the M1 Abrams, the reason that they don't want to send them to Ukraine, they run on jet fuel and they literally get, I think it is 4 gallons to the mile. And that is not an exaggeration. So they're saying we don't have enough fuel to use these in a wartime situation. And if that's the case, the United States is not prepared for a world war. Either that or they're keeping all their pieces at home. But anyway, the Leopard tanks are faster than the Abrams. They take a lot less fuel than the Abrams. They're more maneuverable. And the holdup has been Germany does not want to just take what it has and pile them into Ukraine for a couple of reasons. Number one, they want to keep their hardware in case World War breaks out. Number two, the first two world wars have been pinned on Germany. Whether you agree with that or not, it got thrown into their laps both times. And they don't want to be the cause for another world war. They believe by sending these tanks over to Ukraine immediately, World War III is going to kick off, and I'm inclined to agree. The reason I bring that up this morning, Poland has a bunch of these Leopard tanks, and they are supposed to get permission from Germany because they bought them from Germany. And they're saying at this point, we're going to send them either way, with or without Germany's permission. We're prepared to send them into Ukraine. And Putin has threatened the West. When he says the West, he's talking to the United States of America, okay? And he has said, and I quote, the security of their citizens and the territorial integrity of their country. So he's saying up until this point, the United States has kind of been just, they got a hand in it from afar. He's saying, if these tanks hit Ukraine in any way or shape or form, we're going to start reaching out and touching you somehow. Not only are your citizens in trouble at this point and in danger, but we're also going to threaten potentially the borders of the United States. That's what I got out of that statement. Now he did, he's bringing up nukes, and he often references nukes, and I don't know. This thing's getting ready to escalate, is what I'm trying to tell you. That if you see on the news Poland or any other NATO country, for that matter, sending these Leopard tanks to Ukraine, it's World War III. At that point, as soon as they hit the ground over there, we are in World War III full blown. So strap in and strap up. That's, I mean, when Russia starts threatening the borders of the United States and the population here, do I think that they would go boots on the ground? I don't think so. I don't think they can right now. They got their hands full. But cyber attacks, they have the means to shut things down. And I think that they will. I think that they would view that as an act of war from the West, again, being the United States, and they would come right after the United States. Hospital infrastructure, I'm looking at the banking sector, the grid itself, anything and everything they can do to disrupt the United States. I think that they're prepared to do it. Just stay strapped as Black Cat. Black Cat Whirligig. What are you doing? People have been asking about you, Black Cat. What's going on? Yeah, Biden threatens his own people with nukes. No shock that Putin would threaten us as well. Biden is doing it to spin a narrative, though, and Putin, I think he's mad enough to do it. I think he's crazy enough to do it. At least tactical nukes and things. Um, Strap up. Stay strapped. If you don't have brass, start stacking brass, because you're going to need it, I think. It is already happening, Kathleen. I think World War III started right after the invasion of Ukraine, when NATO was building up. But now we're kind of transitioning into boots on the ground from NATO countries and things. And if Russia comes after us, if they're threatening us and then they actually follow through with this stuff, we're going to see some kind of conscription here in the United States. We don't have the manpower to fight a war. And on top of that, again, the M1 Abrams, they're saying they're not capable of war over there. They're saying we don't have enough fuel. The supply line would be a logistical nightmare. So we don't know what we're going to do if we get dragged into this war. Who's the brass for? Anybody that threatens the borders in a violent way. Trying to say it as best as I can there. Boots on the ground invasion. Somebody that did not have boots on the ground, Greta Thunberg. Have y'all seen that video where she got arrested? That's the girl that says "How dare you" all the time. Somebody said Friday, they said no, that was a fake arrest. So I dug around this weekend, and sure enough, I've seen footage now prior to her being arrested where the police were walking her through the process. They were showing her how they were going to grab her, how they were going to carry her. It was a fake arrest, folks. I have seen proof of this. It was a fake arrest. And this just shows me, not only is that poor girl, I think she's probably being manipulated at this point. But not only is her narrative false, but I think the whole climate change thing, I don't know how people still bite on that, to be honest with you. But yeah, it's Briar Patch. It is fake news, and I can confirm that now. And that was a photo op. That's a great way of putting it, Tony. A photo op. And so now that we know that it was staged, I caught it on social media, but I saw it was an undoctored video, somebody taken with a cell phone. You have to begin to ask why. Why would somebody lie about that? Why would they go above and beyond? There's a motive there. You know what I mean? And maybe it's a distraction. Maybe they're getting ready to push climate change much harder. It's ridiculous the amount of propaganda that is coming out of not only the region of Ukraine, okay, but also with the WEF and the whole climate deal. There's so much propaganda. It feels like you're swimming in propaganda. I don't know how else to say it. Russia is spitting out propaganda left and right. Every other thing Russia says is a lie or a half truth. That being said, everything that we hear about Ukraine, you can break it down into two parts. The first part is look at what they're doing. Look at these poor, pitiful kids. They play on your sympathy, and then they go into the the begging. Please, we need tanks. We need money. This ain't fast enough. Y'all need to get your act together. It's all propaganda. It feels like it's all propaganda. And then the WEF, they just made a statement. Dome Seeker, thank you for sending that video to me. I saw it on Instagram. Um, the WEF is saying they're on course for depopulation. Like half of the world's going to be depopulated. They didn't say how. Nobody knows how. It's anybody's guess. Is it something they've put in the food? Is it something they've put in the medicine? Is it something else that we don't know about? Is this in reference to World War III? We don't know. But they feel confident that they're going to be able to depopulate enough people that they're cocky about it, and they're saying it in the wide open. Somewhere in West Texas, I don't really know by when. They said they were on track to do it, and the agenda is Agenda 2030. So I'm going to assume by 2030, but that's an assumption on my part. I don't really know. It could be a combination of many different things. Mandates pushing what I would consider to be poison, and then in conjunction with a world war, something like that. It could be some of the stuff that because look, folks, I'm going to make a statement here. Not everybody's going to agree with it, but I'm going to make it anyway. I think that we're being made sick on purpose through food. I've thought this for a very long time. There's a lot of bad stuff in our food. If you go back 40, maybe 50 years ago, and you look at the average health of the average American, because I'm in America, I'm sure it's global though, and you compare it to now, and the only way you can get there is what they're eating, what they're drinking, stuff like this. So I think that, and chemtrails as well, Bama Jen. I think there's a lot of that stuff going on, and I think they're making money on the back end, of course, with farm and stuff. I know that sounds like a conspiracy theory, but it's the perfect hustle. You make people sick on purpose, you control the population as best you can, then you sell them the solution and kind of drag their lives out or whatever. Fast food definitely plays into it. Somebody said fast food. Um, Both, Brian. I think both. Fast food is definitely fast food is one of those things where people kind of know going in, okay, this is trash. I'm getting ready to eat trash, but hey man, we're out on the road. We got the family with us. It is what it is. Grocery stores typically, if you shop on the outside, like the produce and the dairy and stuff, it used to be anyway, and the meats, you're gonna get fresh food. Now that's anybody's guess anymore. There's so much fake stuff out there, but the stuff in the middle is the stuff that actually makes you sick on the middle aisles and things. Um, so I don't know. I don't mean to get off course there, but I'm saying when I saw that statement by the WEF and they were cocky about it. Yes, we're right on course. They're going to eat the bugs or whatever. I'm thinking that the plan is already in effect. Whatever it is that they're going to do to depopulate people is already there, or it's in the works, and they feel really good about it. So just be careful with what you're eating, folks. Be really, really careful. You know, I don't know if you would consider that a prep or not. You can ask McBean. He's got a channel here. He probably knows. But I would consider shifting from kind of what I consider to be dirty eating or eating a lot of junk to eating fresh and trying to eat better is a prep. I think that plays into the physical prepping aspect quite a bit, because you have to be healthy, as healthy as possible, when it collapses, right? Art Nanny, did you see Diamond's sister's comment about her sudden death? There's something happening that is respiratory, and right now, a child, me, and elder are struggling with asthma. Sorry to hear that you're struggling with the asthma. I saw bits and pieces where she was up talking about it and she mentioned respiratory, but the thing is, swept right under the rug. Not many mainstream medias were covering it. Um, the whole thing. I mean, there people are just dropping, and I'm not gonna. I don't know the lady personally. I don't know what her health was like or anything. Could have been something that she was dealing with for a while. I don't really know, but um, people just seem to be dropping. Have you noticed how expensive it is to eat healthy? Yeah, I have. It's expensive to eat, period, Thomas, right now. I was just telling Chewbacca, I think it was Chewbacca the other night. Um, my wife has finally broken down and she's buying 6 eggs at a time because they hit $7 a dozen here. And we have powder too, but we prefer fresh eggs. But I think it's by design. They pricing people out. Um, part of the plan. Misty, yes, it's a slow kill. Everything to kill you. Um, Trump will save yous. No, JJ, JJ George, this is not one of those channels. We do have fans of Trump. Trump is 8,000 times better than the coyote in chief that we have right now, the thief in chief. But Trump is not the savior. He's not going to save people. This is the wrong channel for that. And if you're trolling, I mean, welcome. We love you too. I mean, Trump's a guy. Um, they've taken meats off of Snap. I'd seen this was last week, I believe, Australian woman. I've seen where they are taking certain I don't know how I feel about it. They're taking fresh meats off of the SNAP program. They're taking other things like white rice, and people are like, this is strange. But it seems like they were targeting stuff that Latinos typically buy. And I don't know if they're doing this because so many people are sneaking in at the southern border and then applying for SNAP. I don't really know. But it did seem kind of like a targeted list of foods, and some of them stood out as odd to me. Um, Furry Tree Dweller, I'll check out Alaska Preppers here shortly. I haven't seen his latest. Jim Shady White, we've been swimming in propaganda since 1947. Yeah, it seems like Goebbels, they've just been perfecting his system ever since. There you go. Ink Scars, what's up, brother? Swab is in the house. How you doing? Hey, alien. Oh man. Oh, Warlord TV's up in here. What's going on, man? Yeah, that's kind of the point. Michael G says no one is coming to save you. Trump is not coming to save y'all, folks. And again, I'm not hating on Trump. I think he was a great president. Is I mean, look at the body of work we have to compare him to: Barack Obama and then Joe Biden. So yes, Trump stands out as a great president to me. Um, I don't know that he wins again. And I don't know even if he did that he would be able to change a whole lot at this point. When the wheels are falling off, the wheels are falling off. Um, yeah, only we can save ourselves, and that's prepping. That's prepping for everything, being informed, trying to grow your own food, um, trying to eat healthier, as we were just talking about, being strapped up in bad situations. Florida man, I miss seeing these comments on the screen. I saw a lady Trying to buy dog food on Snap, they told her no. She sent her family member to go get a giant roast and said the dogs can eat it and paid for it with Snap. I mean, I don't wanna categorize everybody, because there are good people that receive assistance, and there's nothing wrong with it. When you're down on your luck, man, there's 2 situations where I see getting snapped. You're down on your luck, you're trying to work your way out of it, and you need some help. And I think that it makes America a great country. I don't think the government should be on the hook for it. Rudy did a video last week, the Alaska Prepper here on YouTube, and I totally agree. I think that's where the families and the churches need to step in and help people. This should be a last resort, having the government to bail you out. The other situation is when a parent leaves and they leave the other parent there with a bunch of kids, and that parent is just totally stuck as a single parent. They don't know what they're going to do short term. Yeah, in those cases, I'm okay with going in and helping these people. But man, there's a lot of abuse, folks, in the social welfare system, and it's just there's a problem. Okay, there's a problem. Not to get on this soapbox again, but there is a serious issue when you have veterans who, and I see them. When we go past the VA hospital, um, I'll see them. They're sleeping outside. They have nowhere to go. Man, they're eating probably one meal a day, and that's actually at the VA hospital. They don't have benefits for whatever reason, but then you have people that don't even speak English, don't even care about this country, coming in, hating America, coming across the southern border, getting everything. And there's something's jacked up um, with that system. And, unfortunately, I don't see that changing anytime soon. I do think it's too late. We are totally bankrupt as a country. And thank you for bringing that up, Kitsy. I have to dance around this subject because I've caught a strike for talking about it in the past. I was talking about the Super Bowl weekend and that kind of stuff happening. That's another issue at our southern border. A lot of kids are being brought in and out illegally. They disappear. And we dude, we just gotta stop letting these people in. We have to stop the floodgates at our southern border. It has got to become one of the top issues here in the United States. Not all this nonsense. I want to see the IRS go down too. And I want to see them get rid of the IRS. And they're talking about this right now in Congress. Fix the borders. Until you fix the borders, we're not going to be able to do anything else. It's just, you know what I'm saying? Casey Littleout, good morning. And again, I was telling him earlier, sorry to hear about the channel and stuff, but it means you're doing the right thing. So, you know, not trying to preach to you, Casey Al, but just stay positive because you're making a difference. Okay, so pivoting over because we were talking about Ukraine, and I don't know how we got turned around here. I want to give you some of the common shortages that the Ukrainian citizens are dealing with right now. Because if we find ourselves in a situation where we're in a world war full blown, or the grid would go down, due to a cyber attack or something like this, the shortages are typically the same whether you see the collapses of a society at wartime, civilization, or whatever. So here's a short list of what they're struggling with right now. Power and water. Those are the two big ones. These people have had no power for a very long time. Drinkable water. They're trying to catch, in many cases, Backroot, I think they are catching rainwater and they're trying to purify it as best they can on wood stoves and stuff. Where you at, backwoods? Fuel. Fuel is a main concern over there. The folks that have generators are struggling to find in cars and things. Of course, medicines. A lot of people are on medications over there. A lot of children are on medications and the elderly, and they can't find them, or they're having to. They have like these little swap meets set up as predicted, right, in a prepping community, and they're going to these swap meets and they're trying to trade things of value for the medicines that they need to survive. Clothes, specifically warm clothes, because it's very cold over there right now. mental health support. This one struck me. I hadn't thought of it, but they're saying that a lot of Ukrainians that are kind of on the front lines, they're living in cities where shelling's happening 5 miles away. They're saying that they're dealing with a lot of mental health issues. Number one, because they can't get a hold of their medicines, and then number two, it's just constant nonstop. They hear explosions all around them, even at nighttime when they're sleeping. And so a lot of the Red Cross has brought in counselors and stuff like that, and a lot of former school teachers that are still there are doubling now as counselors, and they're trying to help people through this. So mentally, a lot of people were not prepared for what's coming. And I think there's a lesson to be learned there. Um, Cell phone charging stations that are run by generators. So a lot of people are going to they're like food banks, but they have charging stations set up. And something I found very odd is the documentaries and the behind the scenes stuff that I've seen on the front lines. The Ukrainian soldiers are fighting, and then they'll show like 10 miles away, and they'll show these charging stations. And of course, their families in there yesterday and stuff. But there are a lot of single men in there charging their phones, and they're on their phones. And I'm thinking, why aren't you out helping the soldiers? If you're not going to flee and you're going to stay behind, why aren't you at least trying to fight? I didn't understand that one, but they seem to be filled. The charging stations are filled with grown men that don't want to fight and defend their country, I guess. Information. Information. A lot of people that have been interviewed are complaining that they don't know what's going on. They hear so many things from so many different people, and that's war, and most of all, food. A lot of these people are on the brink of starvation. They're eating one meal a day. It's usually some kind of soup, some kind of cheaply made soup at these food banks, and you'll see them there. They're eating them out of a repurposed can. They're using a can for a bowl. They're eating the soup. You can see them shaking because they're dealing with so much stuff up here, and then they have to worry about hunger and stuff like this. It's just not a good situation to be in. And I don't know that we're going to see boots on the ground to that extent here in the United States, but I'm saying if we were to see a collapse or even a financial collapse, a lot of people are not ready for it up here, and a lot of people physically are not prepared for it. Um, and so it's very important to get your mind right. Is the point I'm trying to make? I'm going to jump to the poll, and then we're going to hit the free for all with the chat here. All right. No, a lot of y'all are wrong on this poll. Most likely to happen first. 45% of you say John finally tries squirrel. No. I've said I'll do that if this channel hits 100,000. I'm gonna let Dynamite make me some squirrel. But the way we're suppressed here on YouTube, that ain't ever happening. So we got to go with the backup here. Number two, 22%. The feds are going to seize backwoods wood stove. Good morning, Philly Flash. So that's the most likely to happen. 18% of you say Dynamite is going to be placed in a FEMA camp. I've got my doubts on that one. I'm going to be honest with y'all. And to troll Caveman James, 14%. Dallas Cowboys win another ring. I was talking to him last night before that game. I don't really watch it, but he was talking about we them boys. Then he got real quiet after they lost. So I'm going to be rubbing it in for a month or so. Free for all. We're in the chat. What do y'all want to talk about? Anything and everything. Except squirrel recipes. Huh? I don't think it is. Stringfield Ridge Farms. I don't think it is. See, YouTube plays this game. I can't prove it, but I suspect this individual works at YouTube because they talk very fancy when they do leave a comment. I pinned one last week on one of the videos and replied to him. But anyway, they're kind of clowning me. They say, it really sucks to put in all this time and all these videos and gain a bunch of subscribers and then see a bunch taken away. So I suspect that somebody over there, maybe I've dated him previously or something. Maybe I dated a girl that works at Google, but every time we gain 100 subs here at Prepper Nation, 100 subs get ghosted for no rhyme or reason. People get unsubscribed and they don't realize it. I don't know why this is happening, but it gets me out of eating squirrel. So, you know, it is what it is. No, I don't think white sauce is racist. At least I hope not. Uh, Best everyday carry folding knife at a good price. If price is a concern, I would start with Cricket and CRKT and kind of move up from there. I wouldn't get anything cheaper than that. They make a decent, dependable folding knife. But I mean, they get pricey depending on how much you're willing to spend. And you're going to be 100 people posting 100 different brand names in chat, and that's okay. Check them all out. They do. This is the coolest community on YouTube, and we're also the most hated. We're kind of the cast-offs and the rejects, if you will. Uh, but I wear that as a badge of honor. A lot of people will follow these large creators, and they just feel like they don't fit in for whatever reason in another community, and they show up here, and we're like, "Come on with the rest of us. Come on." Bank of America. Okay, so Bank of America. What a joke this bank is. Please don't bank with Bank of America. I'm not trying to tell y'all what to do with your money, but I would at least bank elsewhere because not only does money come up missing or reallocated on the regular, but they have them and also what is the other one? Wells Fargo. They have announced they're giving preferential treatment, loans and things to people who are not white. So if you go in and apply for a loan and you're white, sorry about your luck on that. You're either going to be paying higher interest or you're not getting the loan. Um, well, Jason, when that time comes, we'll do a poll. Uh, but when that time comes, I'll be 90 years old anyway, so it's not really going to matter. Um, you were that bad of an ex? I don't think so. But opinions vary on that. And so, yeah, one of them might have got a job and they're just going in once a week. I don't know. I really don't. Yes, that game. That game apparently happened. It could be a prepping channel thing, to be honest with you. Casey Littlehouse says I lost 100 subs in one day, all at once. Just the purge. You know what I mean? You get a little momentum and then you get purged back out, back of the line. Um, Outlaw Farms. Prepper Nation, I got put in fake book jail for sharing a cooking video. Some of the stuff that gets flagged on our Facebook community page is ridiculous, and we have to go in and review it to find out if there's anything bad in there, anything mean. Keywords seem to be a big thing over there. We're the best because we aren't infighting with each other. We are better than that. Yeah, drama. I don't do drama. I don't get tied up into it. There's important stuff going on. There's big people stuff happening in the world. I don't get this. You see channels going back and forth, or you'll see these channels that pop on there, and they're calling people out. You're not a prepping channel. You're not a real homestead channel. You're not a real this or real that. And I'm the kind of person that I assume everybody in chat is a grown up and grown-ups can make their own minds up. I don't have this savior complex where I'm going to jump in and tell you who to follow, who not to follow. Make your own decision. But I will tell you, Warlord TV here on YouTube. Go support your local warlord. that that's a good platform. But there's several in here. Again, I saw McBean, I saw Casey Littlehouse in here as well. Um, both great platforms. In 2008, I lost 20,000 out of my bank account at Bank of America. There's some shady stuff going on at Bank of America, and God, that's tough. which bank is worse, Bank of America or Wells Fargo? I don't hear as much about Wells Fargo losing people's money or missing money for a time. Bank of America seems to have more issues, but it could be that they're a larger bank. I don't really know. Wells Fargo's horrible. So, I let me take that back. I don't know. I don't know which one. We don't use either one, so Teresa, we will. Depends on the morning. Like this morning, yeah, we can run it for an hour. I ain't got no shame. I got nowhere to be. Some mornings I'll have to scoot out and do things. Um, I usually take care of, I'll go out and pay the things or shuttle the kids back and forth if they got something going on, but I got nothing going on today. Great topic, prepper trucking. What's the next major catastrophe to hit the US in your opinion, John? It's going to be financial, I think. I think the writing's on the wall with all of the job losses and stuff. I don't know, buddy. I don't know if they'll ever call it a recession or worse. They don't. They're dancing around that word, but I think it's going to be financial. One of those situations like people hit last week where they check their Bank of America and oh, the money's not there anymore. I had $30,000. Where did it go? And then they went online and it wasn't working online. So they try to call and they get this endless robot saying, we're sorry, blah, 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 blah. And they just couldn't get their money, you know, and that affects people in real time. Kelly, do a Starbucks live while eating squirrel. Can you imagine if Dynamite cooked up a pot of squirrel and brought it to a Starbucks and a bunch of us met up there and we just had a potluck inside of Starbucks and live streamed it? Can you can you imagine? We'd be on Fox News. Stringfield Ridge Farms, thank you very much. And welcome to the coffee club. I try not to, Roy. I'm gonna level with y'all. I try not to with the fear porn. It's all over the place. There's so much fear porn though. If you put out happy thumbnail art every single day, nobody's gonna find it. Nobody's gonna give you a second look. So you kind of have to put out something that not really is fear porn, but is serious enough to catch people's attention. And I hate that we have to do that here, but I'm the Section 8 of YouTube. Use a credit union if at all possible, yeah, or a community bank, folks. That would be my personal opinion, as well. The section, you're not the Section 8. Come on, man. Oh, yes, I see them, and I'm so sorry I haven't seen them in the past. Maybe it's where I wasn't using StreamYard over here. I'm not sure, but Denise, yes, I do see him. Chase is worse. They stole a bunch of money from us. Most of the bigger banks are in with the economic forum. They're pushing the social credit and stuff like this. Y'all know that. The community banks, most of those are not that I'm aware of. Some of them are tied into the larger banks, most are not, and then credit unions as well. Bank of Backwoods is all I trust. Well, there's nothing wrong with that either. You know, David says, I'm betting good old fashioned cash will be popular for now, but once they phase that stuff out, that's coming. I mean, that's people are looking at that and they're saying, oh, that's a conspiracy. That'll never happen. It's coming. They're going to phase cash out and they're going to put everybody on a social credit deal and give you the US dollar, the Fed coin. I don't know what they'll call it, but it's coming. False flag to get riots happening. And I feel bad for saying this, but I'm gonna say it, and dance around it, sadly. So when I saw the mass deal that happened in California, my first thought was, what are they trying to hide? What are they trying to do while everybody's looking over here? And I really did in my mind. I'm like, does this have anything to do with more documents being found at Biden's residence? Does this have anything to do with something the WEF is talking about? Because I mean, it's a heck of a coincidence. You have all this other important stuff that people should be focused on happening. Boom, you have this event take place. Could just be a coincidence. But I hate that we're to the point now, every time I see something like that happen, I'm thinking, was it planned? Was it a false flag? So, you guys are saying money is safe from being frozen or confiscated, stuff like that. If it's in hand, it's safe from being frozen if you have it in your possession. Um, as far as the confiscated, to each their own. If they show up and they want your money at the front door and you have cash on hand, you deal with that however you see fit. Yes, they are. Thank you, Andy Prepper. Pakistan is experiencing a grid down today, 220 million people. Why is this significant? It's a planned blackout. This is not infrastructure failure. This is, hey, we don't have enough to go around. And so they just shut people's lights off. I got you, Stringfield. Thank you very much. Wing it with Ethan. I cashed what little 401k I had out already. People are still losing 401k and lots of it. I'm not dumb seeker. I'm not wearing girly pants. I'll wear, again, this is all hypothetical. They ain't ever gonna let this channel hit 100,000 subs. Y'all are nuts. But in hypothetical land, I would wear liberal man pants. I'm not wearing women's pants. Um, Someone had brought this up in chat Friday, Talon. Talon says alert, chicken feed is preventing chickens from laying eggs. Google it. Um, there is some information floating around that they're messing with the chicken feed and stuff like this. I don't have chicken, so I can't tell you specifically that it is, but several people in chat, they have said, yeah, that they're messing with this stuff. It does. It does. I mean, there's a lot of money to be made there, I guess. I just don't want to be that guy. I'd rather just come and hang out, you know what I mean? And some creators, they get upset when you sit here and you're just hanging out with the live stream and stuff like this. And I'm like, well, you don't, nobody's going to force you to come hang out with us, man. You can do your own thing. Secret squirrel. Geez, John, you people talking about eating my relatives. I ain't eating them. It's these crazies in chat here. I'm I'm going to have to be here to keep an eye on your live streams. Yes, be here. But no, it's these crazies. Um, Caveman's brought it up, Dynamite's brought it up, and apparently there are a lot of squirrel eaters up in here. The last time we had a family camping trip, it was very weird because my mother-in-law was there, my wife, of course, Caveman was there, and Caveman and my mother-in-law start talking about how they love squirrel gravy. And my wife and I are both sitting there like, y'all nasty. We're not touching that. And it was like this hour-long debate on squirrel. I don't know why squirrel. Why squirrel? Yeah, Carrie, there's there's definitely more than one conspiracy theory out there, but a lot of them end up just being conspiracies at the end of the day. The theory kind of gets dropped because they turn out to be true in many cases, or partially true at least. Backwood says $1,000 worth of food storage is better than $10,000 in money in the bank. Yeah, during an event, it doesn't matter how much is in the bank. You know, if you can't eat it, you can't shoot it, you can't wear it. If it's not going to purify water or produce electricity, it's probably not going to be any good for you. Fair enough. BW says cash confiscation is called inflation. Yeah, it's like we're being taxed extra right now on top of the taxes that we already pay that we shouldn't be paying. But Warlord TV, oh Rob, he never told me how I get out of legally paying these taxes. He was supposed to let me know that. Thank you, Prepper Trucker. I don't see John trying to squirrel. Um, in a life or death situation, yes. You know, I'm down. I'll eat it. But in a world where I have choices and options, nah. Yes. When the grid goes down, they'll blame it on the right wing. They everything right now. The right wing, that's the boogeyman. Conservatives are the boogeyman. See, they like to use that word extremist, uh, but they don't really define what that means anymore. You know what I'm saying? An extremist to them is a Christian, or an extremist to them is somebody who goes according to the Constitution. You know, an extremist can be somebody that disagrees with the Rainbow Mafia on anything. You disagree with anything, they're churning out. You're an extremist. You don't believe everything that you see on CNN, you're an extremist. They're throwing that word around to the point where it really doesn't carry a lot of weight anymore. You know, Velcro man bun. Only if you'll drive down, wear one with me, bro. Crazies, how dare you? I'm just sanity challenged. I don't know. Maybe squirrel's the best thing ever, but I'm in no hurry to try it. I'm in no hurry to eat a tree rat when I have absolutely good food all over the place. Does squirrel gravy taste like sausage gravy? The better question here would be if it does, why not just eat sausage gravy? You know what I'm saying? It's widely available where I live, although it does cost more now. Neil to no one. I love that name. Thank you very much. Yeah, I did, Mark. That's a great place to close for the day. John, did you see where a bill was introduced to kill the IRS tax on payroll? Yeah. I don't know if it'll fly, but the idea would be they don't tax you out of your check anymore, but rather you pay more tax at the point of sale. So if you're making bank, you know, you're making insane amounts of money and you're purchasing lavish things, you're paying more tax. To me, this seems to make more sense because people that are struggling and they're making minimum wage or barely above, they're buying less expensive things and they're spending a lot less money, so they should pay less tax. Um, it seems to make sense, which is probably why it's not going to pass in Congress. I wish they would abolish the IRS, period. I'm not a fan of taxes in general. It's theft, in my opinion. Fair tax. There you go. Hey, I appreciate y'all being here with me and hanging out this morning. We'll try and do it again tomorrow morning. So far, so good. Now that I got the headset and stuff working. But until then, y'all take care and God bless.